Today's interview is brought to you by Macabre Marketing. If you're in the indie horror field, movies, authors, YouTubers, and podcasters, check out Macabre Marketing. They are amazing when it comes to press releases, interviews, social media management. They know how to put your name out there. And if you're in the indie horror, you definitely need that upper hand to help you stand out. So please check out Macabre Marketing and tell them that the Horror Room sent you. Hello everyone, welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. I have with us today an actor. He's right now streaming on Tubi. And he's in 16 bits, which is absolutely fun, as well as Cravings. I have my man, Kevin Caliber. Kevin, welcome to the Horror Room, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about, first off, let's shoot about 16 bits. I had a chance to watch that a couple months back, and I really enjoyed it. Tell my audience a little bit about it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was from the creative mind of Aaron Mento, who also did Ugly Sweater Party, which won Christmas horror flick a couple years back, and me and him worked on set together for that. And then he just wanted to go even bigger. And so 16 Bits is about a video game character that comes to life and tries to live in the video game world in the real reality. And as you can imagine, it'd be like if you take somebody straight out of like Grand Theft Auto or Duke Nukem or something and then just put them on the regular streets with zero consequences. And it's what would happen. And because I play Wax Waster, was a bigger than life character, the star of the video game, and I come out and I wreak absolute havoc and do my thing.
And this movie is full of gore, man. You are fucking people up in this movie, man. I must say, and I'm an 80s kid, so I grew up playing Double Dragon, and it reminded me of Double Dragon so much.
Big inspiration right there was Double Dragon. There was a whole bunch of those really weird, I mean, obviously the name 16 bits. It's 16-bit video games. It's just, it was always the left or right side scroll type beat 'em up games. And yeah, there's a lot of Double Dragon in there.
So when you saw the script to this, were you like, oh my goodness, I've always wanted to be a video game character in a movie?
It was one of those ones where it was just such a fun, big character that whenever me and Aaron, what was kind of the original script, it actually changed quite a bit as the evolution went on of this film. And after seeing the type of, Aaron is really, he's really inspired by like Cronenberg type films. And so he had this idea to do this weird, almost at times it was almost this tech noir style mixed with Cronenberg, and again very 80s 90s vibes. And one of the biggest compliments is horror movie legend Sean Whalen. Whenever he watched it, he said that this felt like a movie that if you would have just found it at your grandparents' house on VHS and put it in and not have any idea where it came from, and he's like that's what it was. Like, good, we made an old VHS creeptastic movie that we would have enjoyed in the 80s.
It's 100% like an 80s VHS off the video store. Never like, what is this? It's that B movie vibe to it, over the top gore. But the most disturbing thing, I hope I'm not giving away anything, is Aaron's nipples in this movie. That is the most disturbing thing in this fucking movie to me.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was written in the storyline, so it wasn't there just for effect. But whenever Alexis Panessa, she was the one that did all the effects, and she actually made those, and so all that gore, the video game system, that was all hand built by her. So she really stepped out, did an amazing job. And with the nipples, it was one of those things that we were all laughing so much that it's like you can't ignore it. And then Aaron's he's funny like that. He's like, can we get a close up? And we're like, you sure you want that? And then yeah, it does kind of linger on it for a few scenes, but it's so it kind of plays for comedic effect as well as just he likes to give that little bit of gross out at moments, just a little bit of and, if anything, the nipples definitely give you the gross out cringe factor moment.
And I love the aspect too that how your character, how he gets his health back is by making out with women. Like that's
That was in a real game. I forget the name of the game, but
really
there was a game where he said that you would go and you would like get the, and he said they would give you kisses on the cheek and it would give you your health meter back. So he was like almost everything in this was inspired by real 80s video games, and it's like pretty hilarious to think about that those were real things. So yeah, the I require 5 kisses to get my health was
so you jump from that movie over to Cravings, which is a dark horror flick. You got to work with the amazing horror legend Felissa Rose in that. Tell us a little bit about Cravings.
So Craving, yeah, like you said, it's a much darker movie. It's more of a it's definitely more of a drama based as opposed to 16 bits. When we were making 16 bits, we were making it had elements of like a buddy action comedy. Like the first couple times that they go out, they're just it's like this funny thing that they're working off of each other. And then with there's a lot of laughs. A lot of it was played for laughs. And then with Craving, it was definitely the darker, type of thing, and it was a really fun challenge to work on a film like that because if anybody who hasn't seen it, I'm not giving up much away, but it is also a creature feature. So there's a creature in there, and whenever you start getting into anything in the indie horror world, you need to have something that stands out. Whether it's so the idea itself is, I mean, it's not necessarily a storyline that you've never heard before because essentially it is a siege movie is what it is, but to play it in different ways. And then there was a lot of anti-heroes and you're not sure who's good and you're not sure who's bad, and we did it a lot through flashbacks, so we got to have fun with that. We got to kind of change our looks to have a years prior flashbacks, things like that. So we were trying to get a lot of production value out of what we had, because obviously whenever you're working within a budget and you want monsters and you want all these things, you're obviously somewhat limited in certain ways. But Robert Bravo, he was a co-producer on that one, and he did the effects, and it's just we put so much into the effects on purpose, and there was, I don't know, 80 gallons of blood or something we
A lot
spilled.
of blood in this movie. It's a
So
lot of blood.
yeah, and that was fun because we got to do got to do the full head molds and all that because again, I don't want to give too much away, but it gets gory.
Yeah, and I love, like you were saying, there's multiple groups in this movie, and there's like power struggles going in between each group. So there's a lot of character development. There's a lot of stories going on inside the main story, which is the creature.
Yeah, and the writers, it was written by Jason Horton and Gregory Blair, who are both just very very experienced workers in this world, and what they created to create all these different layers, and like I say, with be able to have so much character development with so many people, that it says something about a good story whenever at some point you kind of feel for the people. Like it was almost like I just watched the latest Saw movie, and you're
Mhm.
really feeling bad for Jigsaw in that. You're really, haven't seen it. I mean, it's like tugging at your heartstrings. You're like, yeah, get him, and now you're finding
Yeah.
yourself rooting for where obviously he's not the hero of the movie, but he is in a way because it's this thing. So whenever you have that many characters that you're trying to tell their side of the story, it's a lot of fun to kind of release that slowly in little nuggets to kind of find who's backstabbing who, and it keeps you on your toes all the way till the end.
And you're trying to figure out who is the true villain in this movie, and that's what's amazing because you can side with each character or each group, and you can see their point of view on why they are the good guy or why they're the bad guy, and that's what I enjoyed about this movie.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That one was a lot of fun. We're actually getting that whole team back together. Essentially, that was writer director Jason Horton. He's got another one coming up. We're going to be filming it early next year, so we're only a couple months away from that. And that one's going to be called A Hard Place. And like I said, it's pretty much a lot of the same band back together. It's myself and my partner Ashley Undercuffler as producers, along with Jason, and then we're also bringing back partnering back up with Robert Bravo from Bravo Effects. And spoiler alert, this one's going to be many more creatures. So we're going to go even bigger and badder with this one. This one's going to be, like I say, similar type of vibe while being a complete standalone new movie as well. So A Hard Place is, yeah, we're looking forward to that one, and hopefully have some of the cool people back. We will have Felissa back as well. She's one of my favorite people in the indie horror world, and I would put her in every single one of my projects if I had the power. So
An absolute legend, absolute legend. Now, I stumbled on 16 bits a while ago because of the indie horror groups on Facebook. And like, I think you made a post, and I think I messaged you, and I was like, oh my God, this movie looks amazing. What is this? And then Michael Joy from Macabre Marketing said, hey, you should. And I think I asked him, I said, hey, I'm going to interview the guys from 16 Bits because I enjoyed this movie. And that's how we got in contact.
yeah, I really appreciate that. It was being in the indie world, of course, we find any way that we can to network and market ourselves. So a lot of it does come into simply posting on Facebook, and you could really reach the masses in different ways because of course we don't have a big marketing budget, and the way that everything's kind of fractured anyway with the lack of commercializing, and of course we don't have video stores anymore that you could just go to the video, like we used to do, and just see the box, pick it up, because there's no more of that. So unless you're directly seeing something, it's so hard to find something good because we've all been on Tubi, or we've all been on, I like my Hulu, and I'll get on Hulu and I'll look at the movies, and a lot of them are just retreads of older movies because they're the bigger studio movies that they're still pumping out. So you don't really get the opportunity to find those little diamonds in the rough, or something really fun. And sometimes those are the most fun things. And I mean, I've been watching, indie horror films since I was a little kid. Like I say, just going to the video stores and picking them up and seeing a cool box art, and every now and again you would get a Slumber Party Massacre or something, and
Exactly.
just I would rent it and watch it 3 times in a weekend. And it's there's something to that.
I mean, I love the Full Moon movies, Demonic Toys, The Puppet Masters, all those B movies. And but it's just something that's great about now with streaming services. Like, it's easier for indie horror filmmakers to get the work out, but at the same time, there's so many indie horror movies. Unless it's word to mouth, it's almost hard for people to find it.
Yeah, it's really hard to stand out from the crowd because you also the name recognition isn't quite going what it used to be. It used to be a bigger deal to see them, and you see with some of these indie horror movies that you could get some names. And I'm a fan first, so as an actor, whenever I go onto these sets, like I remember the first time that I did a sci-fi movie and I got to work with like Robert Lasardo or Ray Wise, and I remember the first time that working with Vernon Wells or Felissa Rose, and it's just like, me as a fan first, that really excites me. So there is something to it of watching and just flipping through these things. But like you said, it's not that it's watered down. It's just that there are people, and you don't have to be in Hollywood anymore. I'm friends with people out of like Cleveland, Ohio. They have a really good film community there, just all over the place. I went to Idaho earlier this year to film, and everybody was wonderful and amazing, and they got name talent in it, and it was just as good of an experience as it was to work in LA. So it's one of the cool things that you get a lot of people that it's not their full-time job. There's people that have regular jobs, and now that film doesn't cost as much, digital does not cost that much, and anybody could, you get a lot of these people it's the writer, director, editor, because they're doing it all on the home computer. You used to have to have an edit bay to do that, and now you're like, oh, I got the software.
An Apple MacBook and you're ready to roll.
Exactly. And so it is really cool that there is a lot of opportunity, but like you said, at the same time, it's hard to kind of sift through that. unless it's word of mouth or something. That's why I think it is important to just being part of the community. And I've tried to be a good member of the community and be supportive of other people's things, and just because like I said, I am a fan first. So no matter what it is that you're doing, it's just a matter of doing that and just being a good person, and hoping that people watch, because a lot of it is just a roll of the dice, whether or not you just don't know.
It is. Now, I have a lot of my fans who are trying to break into the indie filmmaking or the filmmaking, or just actors or actresses. As an actor, if there's somebody who's trying to break into, the acting realm of the horror industry, indie, what's some advice you can give them in the year 2023?
Like anything, it's the terrible word of networking. It's just so much of it is just going and meeting people. If you meet people at cons, if you meet people however you can, and it's also starting to work your way up. There's people that get started by just being a PA. I remember whenever I first moved to LA, I was a PA, I was a grip. I would do anything that I could just to kind of be around it. I did my fair share of one-liners, and sometimes it just takes that putting the time in on set with the people, and just networking and just being a part of the group. And I was like, for instance, before Craving, I did my first movie with Jay Horton, the director of that one. I actually played the creature in another movie
Oh,
based
no.
on it was a movie called Death Day, and I was actually the guy in the creature suit on it. And then me and Jason just met and hit it off, and then a couple of years later we made Craving together. And he never said, "Hey, you got good work ethic. You show up. You're positive on set. You're not you're good. You're a good hang, and you got a decent eye for it. So let's see what we could do." And or like before 16 bits, like I said, I was in Ugly Sweater Party, Aaron's previous movie, and I think I had 3 lines in it or something. I was probably like the 12th most important character. I basically had 2 scenes in it, but it was enough that just being there and being around him, me and him vibed really, really well, that it turned into let's make something together. Because so much of creating in the indie horror world is having a cool, small, close knit team. You don't have the budgets, you don't have, all the spots. So the more readily available that you are, and if you could, the more hats that you wear. Because on my sets, I'm typically one of the assistant directors. I'm the stunt coordinator. I'm a couple other things that I've done, those skills that I could take. So I'm not just the actor. I'm never
Yeah.
just the producer. It's just, all right, what do we need to be? And even for say 16 bits, I mean, I was there every single frame that was shot, even though my character is only in a third of the movie. I was there for the cameras were never rolling without me being there. So it was just whatever that meant. In fact, I got a funny story. So in 16 bits, there's one scene where I think his name was Doug. No, Bobby. So whenever Bobby is in the hotel room and he pulls out his belt and his pants fall down.
Yes.
So that's a buddy of mine, very, very talented guy, DM Harrison. So me and him, like I said, good buddies. So we're not afraid to push it for the sake of comedy and things like that. So in the scene, he pulls off his belt to spank somebody, and his pants fall down for a laugh. And well, his pants aren't that loose. I mean, the average person, you take off your belt, your pants aren't going to fall.
Yeah.
So I actually got down on the floor of that gross hotel room
Oh.
behind the bed, and I reached up. And then as soon as he snapped the belt, I pulled his pants down. And there's like this picture of me on the floor. And I'm just like laying on this gross, disgusting. So I found that location. I rented the grossest hotel, so we didn't have to set decorate it. I said, this is the nasty hotel that fits the movie. So now I'm laying on this gross floor and I'm pulling down my buddy's pants, and I'm like, somebody takes a picture. I'm like, yep, executive producer, star of the movie over here.
60 Best is definitely a dude movie. It's a dude humor. It's definitely a dude movie. Like,
and like the way that we did 16 bits originally, it was supposed to be like a dark thriller horror, and yet we just had so much fun. And then it's hard to ignore the spots that could be funny. So we weren't like punching up jokes, and we weren't. I mean, we were hamming it up just a little bit because it was a little over the top and exaggerated, but while still being, it wasn't like Saturday Night Live sketch. And it was funny because whenever we went to our first festival, we actually won the festival for best sci-fi movie. I was like, sci-fi? And I thought about it, I go, oh, a video game got glitchy, and a guy comes out of a video game into the real world, and the real world gets real glitchy. I was like, yeah, I guess we made a sci-fi movie.
But without giving it away, the part of the movie that I found hilarious was, I'm trying to think of how to say, was when his friends go off into that hotel room and they hired this guy to do certain things. That was absolutely hilarious.
Bonkers, yeah. And that actor, Sean Cohn, was the actor that playing the character that came and got him. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever met, and also one of like the nicest guys in the world. He's a fellow Missouri boy, and I met him about 10 years ago. And the character's so eccentric, and if anybody's ever seen the Sandler verse on YouTube, it's a guy who's connected every single Adam Sandler movie throughout history, and that's him. That's so these insane characters, and it's kind of funny because based on that, Aaron had never met him before, and I highly endorsed him. He of course he auditioned. We had a handful of people send in audition tapes, and it was one of those ones that as soon as we saw his audition, he was like, "That's the guy. Like that's the one," because he basically plays 4 characters in the movie.
Yes.
And like I said, it's going from one person whenever you go in from a smaller role, and he's actually the leading man of Aaron, the director's next movie. They're actually doing a movie called Degradable that'll should be filming soon as well. And
love to see that.
Showed up and was awesome, and it's like, and the director's like, this is the guy. He's the
perfect. I mean, it was hilarious.
He was so good. It was one of those ones where you don't want to blow a take because you're not, it's a rule. Whenever you're on set, you don't laugh at something, or you don't cringe, or just don't lose it. And that one was one where
I was looking like, what the fuck is happening right here?
Exactly what you want to do.
Watch a movie, listen, you've been like, what the fuck is happening right here? And that's exactly what was going through my mind. I was like, what the fuck is that? I was laughing at the same time. I was like, is this really what married dudes go through after a certain point? Like,
yeah, that's the yeah. Whenever you have full freedom, what do? You do that. Like I said, Aaron's a character. He Aaron Mento, the writer director, he's a character. Like I said, the script changed quite a bit we developed it over about a year's time, and it kind of changed as it went. And then he would do that thing too whenever it would be like the day before we would shoot. I could just see him up late at night, just retyping it, and he would send us like new sides, and we're like, "What? Like you rewrote the whole thing?" And it's like, "All right, let's do it." But it was such a fun work environment to be in, and it's one of those things that me as whenever it comes to films I have that I am a producer on, I just try to make sure that everybody has fun. Because that's first and foremost. Like let's all have fun doing it. If this is what we're doing for work, is we're making 16 bits, for work. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, you take it serious. Of course, we take our craft very serious, but at the same time, it's also like so I've been on very big movies. I've been in like Marvel movies and things like that. And whenever you do that, most of the fun is sucked out of it because you could tell it's a business, and you get a lot of people that are 20, 30-year vets in the industry. So they're, because they're there for a reason. They're there because they have the experience. But the fun's gone. It is it's a day job. And I remember it's like the first time that I was in first Marvel movie I was in was the Thor sequel, and I'm dressed up as an Asgardian soldier, and I come out, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And Anthony Hopkins comes walking right over and introduced himself to me. I was like, this has got to be the coolest thing ever. And you can just look around and nobody's really happy to be there. It's just a Tuesday.
That's for a paycheck.
Exactly. It's going to be a 14-hour day. It's just not good. But well, that's one of the benefits about and a lot of people don't realize this, but in the horror world, indie horror people are about the nicest people.
You really are.
It was funny because they do the most bonkers stuff, but
Bizarre shit too, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting trade to be in, but they really are just the just the nicest people. So it really is infectious, and it's like people are like, oh, what are you gonna do? I'll throw more blood at me or do this, because we could be in a pretty uncomfortable situation. I mean, let's be honest. It's so to look at it and it's like, ooh, if I could be, you know, Bruce Campbell or somebody, and then you hear him talk, he's like, are you kidding me? This sucks. It's hell every time. He's like, this isn't, he's like, but he keeps going to it because he's having fun and he's
Having a blast.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when I first started interviewing indie horror directors and filmmakers and actors, I before I first saw, I was like, okay, all these motherfuckers must be like serial killers deep down inside or something. But no, they're just normal. I mean, not normal, but as normal as you can get as a horror person in the horror realm, and like some of the nicest people you will ever meet, nicest people you would come across, and you're like, wow, you're a person who puts vicious murder on film every single day. So
yeah, it's such a thing, and and it is funny to be on set and not to let it get to you, I guess you could say. Like if you're doing something crazy and then it's like, all right, and then cut, and you gotta be like, okay, like we're good. I don't know, because same thing, like because I've worked with a few method actors before, and I'm not a method actor. You could say cut, and I could cut a joke, or I could be smiling and everything all the way until they say action, and I could, no, it's time to go to work. And but some method actors, or you're doing drama or something like that, there's people that just never quite come out of it. They go to that deep dark place, and it's hard to come out. And for some reason, with like with the horror folks, it's I don't know, I guess there's something, something kind of off about us that we just want to keep doing it, and and go bigger and bolder. And I guess that's too where I talk to people that they're like, oh, I don't really like horror movies. What do you mean you don't like horror movies?
I know. I'm like, I understand not liking certain, like some people don't like, I can understand you're saying, well, I don't like found footage or I don't like slashers, but like there's so many subgenres in horror movies, because I consider 16 bits a horror movie. And I mean, it's Half Baked meets Hangover meets a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie meets horror movie, but there's aspects of horror in it. So like, maybe you just have not watched a horror movie that you like it. So I mean, you can't say 100% you don't like horror movies.
Yeah, it's like, again, I don't get people that don't like comedies either. I was like, what, you don't like to laugh? Like what's wrong?
I mean, there's some humor I don't get, but like, yes, I mean, like, how can you say you don't like all comedies? But horror movies is like the one genre of films that people say, they make a blank statement, I hate horror movies. Yeah. And I'm like, well, you can't say that about action or anything else, but horror movies, no.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, because I say I'm not really big into period piece movies, and then it's like, oh, you could give me Braveheart or something, I will eat it up. I was like, oh yeah,
or any of that
piece, it's like, I'm very, very excited for like Napoleon that's coming out. I'm like, oh, yeah, period, please. Or it's like every, of course I watch Gladiator and all those.
Gladiator's one of my favorite movies.
Okay, maybe I do like period pieces. It just depends on,
period. Yeah. So, Kevin, where can everybody find you, my friend?
Wonderful. You could find me at across everything. It's Kevin Caliber on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. Also, 50 Caliber Productions is my production company. If you could just follow that, that'd be great, because I do a lot of I'm involved in quite a few things. I stay pretty busy. I'd like to think I got a good network of people. So yeah, always something. Like you said, we have 16 Bits is up on Tubi. We have Craving. It is free on Tubi, but if you don't like commercials, you could also see it on Amazon Prime. That'll be your commercial free over there. And just today, I had a new action movie hit Amazon Prime. It's called Bang Bang Betty: Valerie's Revenge. I got get to play action hero in that one. And the Craving crew coming back together for A Hard Place. We are still raising a little bit of funds. We're trying to get a couple really cool name talent to be in that one. So every dollar counts because it's all just going to the names at this point. We're gonna make the movie regardless. If we raise a little bit more money, we'll have a couple more really cool horror legends in it. And yeah.
Awesome. Now, do you guys have a Indiegogo going for that right now? Or
Yeah, we have Indiegogo on a hard place right now.
Okay, and that will be down in my subscription box. So make sure to click on it, guys, and support. Listen, Kevin, it's been an absolute blast, man. Listen, I fucking love your fucking movies. I'm about to watch Bang Bang next. So I mean, I'm about to because yes, I love your fucking movies. Listen, go check out 16 Bits, guys. Listen, I've seen 16 Bits and Craving. I love them. Or maybe it's because I'm a guy. I don't know, but maybe. Especially 16 Bits. That's definitely a guy's movie.
Yeah, that feels like a guy movie. Yeah, I did a series a couple years ago. I did my own series called Job Guys, and it was so funny because we're like, oh yeah, we liked it, and every guy that I talked to that was within like 35 and 45, they all loved it, and then everybody else like, oh, I was like, oh, we totally made a show just for us because it was same thing. It's an action comedy, and we're like, yep, we definitely made. Like I am the fan of that movie.
This is definitely 35 to 50. I would say I'm 41. I fit range at range, and like
I'm 41 too. So hey, I love that.
So like I grew up right there in that range. I'm like, I get this humor. I get this movie.
Exactly. Yeah, we're definitely on the same page there. We grew up. I'm sure me and you could compare the stuff that we watched back in the 80s and 90s. I'm sure there's a lot.
Van Damme. I'm a huge John Claude Van Damme fan. I'm a huge Van Damme fan. Bloodsport is my favorite movie, by the way, all time.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Yeah, you all about that Kumite. All right. So, so real funny, quick story for you here. Then, so I do double work. I've doubled a lot of people over the years, from John Cena to Mark Wahlberg,
Nice.
Jack Efron, like anybody that's reasonably in shape. And a couple years ago, whenever Conan was still on the air, I get a call and they say, hey, we're doing a casting. We need a Van Damme double. I was like, oh shit, a Van Damme double. All right. And he goes, all right, it says here on your resume that you do martial arts. I go, I don't know how well you know Van Damme, but I can't do the splits and I can't do the spin kick. He goes, well, you could try to do it, right? I was like, of course I could try. I mean, but half of acting is, embellishing your resume. So I ended up booking the gig, and I played Van Damme on an episode of Conan O'Brien, and
Really?
did not have to do the kick. Luckily, it was all not the kick.
Was that the episode where he did the kickboxer dance?
No, that's hilarious though, because anytime I mention that, that's what everybody thinks. No, it was a dumb one. They called it Jean-Claude Van Damme, which was nothing but it was a picture book of Van Damme being very wet. So, and every picture was just him being very wet. It was a ridiculous, it's hilarious and random. So, but yeah, I actually doubled for Van Damme on Conan O'Brien.
Nice.
Me and Aaron, you'll like this. Me and Aaron, the director of 16 Bits, we actually did a full Van Damme podcast where we would break them down in little like 4-year. So it was the blood sport. It was blood sport, cyborg, kickboxer. I think was all the same.
Death
and Death War. Yes, of course. Yep. Yeah, and then yeah. So we broke down. It was like the 80s, the 90s. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'll have to send
on the podcast. I would love to be on the podcast. I'm a Van Damme fan. I don't like his new stuff, but I mean that 80s, that 90s, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
After Double Team. Double Team.
Double back, and then Sudden Death was the hockey one. That one wasn't terrible.
That was okay. And Double Team with him and Dennis Rodman, that was awful. At that point, I was done. Check that out.
Yeah, the Twins one held up.
Time Cop classic. Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. He got some good movies. And I mean, Lionheart.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing Lionheart in the movie theater. I remember I was in like 3rd grade. What was that? We were like 9 years old or something. It was.
Love Lionheart. I love Cyborg. I like Cyborg better than I do Terminator. Honestly.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I tried to look up me and some other team members. We were looking to buy up old, because everything's a remake nowadays. Anytime you have an intellectual property. So we were looking into buying an intellectual property. We looked at like the movie like Flatliners, and then Flatliners ended up getting sold to somebody else. Then they made a bad sequel. And we looked up the Cyborg one. We're looking up anything. I was like, I can do Cyborg.
Cyborg would be badass. I mean, and a badass villain too.
Oh yeah, Vader or Fender?
Fender with the eyes and the voice and the teeth. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Wicked. Jeez, I haven't seen that movie probably since 1993.
I've seen that movie since here.
All right, bud. Yeah, we could geek out on this all day long. So.
I would love to have you back on in the future, man. We can just talk about Van Damme.
Absolutely.
80s action movies, man. But I'm gonna watch Bang Bang.
That's my jam. That is as you probably, even if you can see back here, you know, I got my Terminator, I got my Arnold. That's what I am, and that's what I represent and try to do. So so yeah, a lot of 80s action inspiration is what I go for. And
we're gonna skip the horror next time. We're gonna go straight to action.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming to the horror room. I'm Travis. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.